If you've been here before, if you haven't, be ready. I'm going to talk to you about the break down. It's going to be disappointing, isn't it? I can do it while the video runs. Anyway, so this week we are kind of 98% redundant, so there'll be, I think, we're getting adventurous and doing lower thirds and things like that while we record. Who knows what could happen. But as you say, we're about 98% redundant, so...
Is it worse to keep saying we're 98% redundant?
You're right. I'm touching lots of wood. Okay. Anyway. Very good. Who's ready to rock? Something like we have a sweet chili sauce in the front row. So they also have we have a writer, commentator, all-round raconteur, dare I say. He appears regularly in Crikey, and he goes by the name Stilgarian. We have a tech news podcaster, now fully fledged journalist for IT News, Ben Grubb. The first on my right is a freelance journalist appearing in so many different outlets I actually can't even mention, I guess. You could probably mention, but we'll get to that shortly. It is Alex Kidman. And then indeed another journalist who appears in many, many places, but most notably has the title of editor at techtarget.com.au. It is Simon Sherwood. So that's the introductions. Now let's get down to our news bites. News bites. We're actually going to kick kind of straight into pretty much tying in with our main discussion because there's an awful lot attached to the idea of the future of broadband. But I guess the best place to start is in news bites with the news that essentially led us to throw into this whole discussion this week, which is PPC1, Pipe Network's brand new pipe between Australia and Guam has gone live. To give you the quick stats, we're talking a 6,900 kilometre cable, at times more than 6 kilometres deep between here and Guam. And a couple of the really interesting stats that came out at the launch, which is that it was intended as a 1.92 terabit pipe, and they've actually overachieved and they're able to deliver 2.56 terabits of data, and then a 10, to get really geeky, 10 gig wavelengths. It's also verified for 40 gig wavelengths, so it's actually ready for the future of broadband. This is a really exciting project for Australia in general, and certainly for all the competitive carriers, which is what we might actually be talking a little bit about. So maybe, Ben, have you been writing anything about PPC1 and what it means to Australia?
A little bit, I guess. No, I'm very excited about it. I know a lot of the ISPs that have signed on to it as, I guess, foundation members. They're very excited as well. We've already seen Internode release new plans, even before it started. We've seen, I guess, the wholesale price for bandwidth as a whole in all of Australia reduced. So hopefully these benefits are going to be passed on to customers. When asking like IONET at the launch, I think the quote was, consumers shouldn't get their hopes up too high. But of course they've got a business to run, so yeah, Internode have passed on some of the benefits, so I'm hoping that other
IONET too. IONET bumped up their plans about 2 or 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm hoping that they're all going to start doing it, if they sign on, of course.
But what are we going to use that bandwidth for? I mean, all that lovely, luscious, cheap bandwidth. It couldn't be that we would download some content we might not perhaps be really allowed to.
Well, I think, ultimately, yeah.
Or is that segueing to that too early?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think, we're definitely going to get right into that during our feature discussion. But we actually do have a couple of videos, I guess, a couple of interviews from the event, so it's probably a good time to have a quick look at those
now. And the way I said that was like it was about to happen. Now, it's going to take a moment. But when you watch this online, you already see that. Well, we will actually see them now in a second.
So we're going to take questions from the floor. Now, tonight, we have, for the first 3 people, or the best 3 or something, Ben will sort this out. We have, I think it's a pretty cool little geek thing. We've got samples of the PPC-1 cable.
What think of it as really short distance, high bandwidth cable in your home.
Shay, could we also give away 2 goldfish bowls to the winners, and then they could simulate building their own?
Yes. But anyway, I think that's a pretty cool geek thing. I'm keeping mine.
I'm keeping mine. That's my super.
But yes, so questions. Ben, who's got... Hit the forums, check it out online, and we will see you next time when we're... I'm not sure what we're talking next time, so we'll tell you about it online. See you then. Thank you very much. And the Bachelorette is up next.
Right now I'm catching the end of Survivor. If anybody wants to know what's going on Survivor?
Howdy. So it's 11 p.m. and went to the Byteside. Yeah, you saw it. And wow, giddiness. I believe that's. And it's sad for me being a geek. I mean, I'm not as trying to get out there, but I think that's my first tech event in Australia. Which is, the technology stuff, geekery stuff and things, it's picking up and everything, and, people have Twitter here and stuff, and people know about the internet and that kind of thing, and there's a growing tech community going on, which is exciting, very, very exciting. The guy from Midnight Update, Seamus, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah, it's Seamus, Derek. It's Seamus.
But anyway, it was very exciting, and I realized that obviously there's tons of people there that are into everything that I'm into, but you know how you kind of want to go say hi? Well, tonight I kind of had to get home and, do some things and stuff, so I stayed for the Byteside show, not the gaming. There was a gaming show they were recording live afterwards. It's a podcast. Byteside's a podcast. About technology, focused around Australian technology, because, there's enough Twitch shows out there so you can understand the American side of technology and stuff like that, and blah, blah, blah. We don't need to hear about the new iPods again, right? So I realized I need to find a friend of mine, whom I already know, that I need to drag along to these things. And then I can create new friends. I mean, I saw Natalie Tran there, and, that I recognize. Anyway, it was very fascinating listening to stuff that I actually understood and things like that, like the new PPC-1 pipe, which is Australia-Guam connection to the internet. It went live today or last week or something, which is giddy up because that means more bandwidth, less cost, blah, 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 more competition, which is cool for Australia's internet, even though, we still get, there was a bit of talk about BitTorrent and, Hulu and stuff like that, which we still don't have stuff like that or have access to it, which sucks. But things are coming along nicely. It's a little slower than many of us would like, but then you do realize they were talking about the business side of it, and you can't just, but they do it in America, but I know we're Australia, and we're like a minuscule little size. Anyway, I digress. It was a very, very fun time. I went with my dad, hung out, had a couple of solos. That's a lemon drink, delish. And then pretty much left after that first thing. But I'll link up the the episode, because it'll be like in massive HD excitingness because they recorded on these awesome cameras, HDV, and yeah. So anyway, if anyone, any Australian, and you know, I have my circle of friends and stuff that I can ask, but a lot of them are really too geeky, like photography geeky and stuff, but not like nerdy geeky, which I need to get. If you want to, I don't know, maybe sign up and be my friend. No, I'm not asking for friends, I'm just asking for someone I can connect with without having to like go up to strangers, and that's the whole point of these things sometimes, but, you know, I'm just not, I'm crazy, but you know, yeah, you need someone to come to you. Anyway, that's a lot of blabbery about nothing, and anyway, this video is probably far too long, but it was exciting. In conclusion, that is the end.